Hello, Trail Finders. Today we are going to talk about SOQL. So SOQL is the Salesforce Object Query Language, which is specifically designed for Salesforce. We have been talking about database all this time. So Salesforce database is very well connected with Apex, so you don't need to worry about the connection to the database. It is all done by Salesforce, and I would have explained this already that your Apex language sits right on top of your database, so it understands what your database looks like in your Salesforce instance. So you don't need to worry about that. So SOQL, which is Salesforce Object Query Language, it is very similar to SQL, which is your structured query language, but it is designed specifically for Salesforce data and it understands how Salesforce data looks like. When to use SOQL? So SOQL is used to retrieve data from the database. You can count the number of records, you can sort your records, and you can retrieve all the fields which are there in your database. Be it of any type, number, date, checkbox, whatever it is, you can retrieve it from database using SOQL. So let's go back to the developer console and see how do we write an SOQL. This is very, very important because anything and everything that you would do in your Apex code would require an SOQL. So let's do that. And right. So let's try to fetch some of the records from the account object. So how do we do that? So first thing is we'll need to create a list of what data type you would use now. So this is again very, very important to understand. So all of your objects, like I said, Apex sits right on top of your database. So it understands all of those objects. So you can create a list, set, and map of all of the S objects which are there in your Salesforce database. Here, your account actually becomes a data type. So list account, and we are going to give it a name, so account list, and then we are going to write our SOQL query. So there are two ways of doing it. The first is you write and you create a square brace, and then you say select. So select, why? Because select is like from the database, like the big database, select these fields, right? So account has so many fields. So select what all fields you want from account. So let's say I want account, name from account, and then we are going to put from. So this is again a keyword. So select and from would always be there whenever you write any SOQL query. So from, where are we going to fetch this data from? So which object? So we are going to fetch it from account. So select ID and name from account object, and we are going to find all of these in our code right now. So let's do that, and let's do system.debug, and let's say account list. And let's see what happens when we run this code. So I'll do debug, and this is training session 14, and this is our method. So because we are using static, we can just call it straight away using class name, and I'll do execute highlighted now. Debug, and let's see. So see, it has brought the ID and the name of that particular account of all the accounts which are there in Salesforce. And you see it is being truncated because there were many more, but there's a limit of how many can be put in within a single line of debug statement. Now, because I've been saying this already that there's a limit of how much it would come in a single line. So now if we want to see all of them, so what we can do is we can do a for loop account A, and then we'll do account list, and then we can do something like this, and then we'll say system.debug, and this time we'll say A here. So this would basically put all the fields together here, but if you want to segregate, what you can also do is you can say ID, and then you can say is equal to, and then you can say a.name. So this would make it more clearer. I'll just execute it now again, and let's see what happens. This is very, very interesting. You see, this was truncated as express logic and transport, but so where is express logic and transport? After that, there were like about 6 or 7 more. If you do it like in a for loop, you can run through all of them in a single way, in a single loop like this, and traverse through each of them and know what are the values inside it. Now, because we know how to run an enhanced for loop and everything, So now you can put your logic inside it and you can, update the value. So let's say you can run whatever logic you want to do inside this for loop and do whatever you want to do. This is a very basic SOQL that we have written here. There are more options, more additions to this, which I'm going to explain to you now. So I'm going to talk about couple of keywords which you can use in your SOQL queries, make them more specific, and you get only the records which you actually want to use. So first one is where clause, which is very, very important. We go back to our code. Now, if I say where, and I can put a logic where, let's say created date is less than today. So give me only the values which are less than today. So then all the values which are less than today would be available in this particular list now, where the created date was less than today. Similarly, you can bring in more logic and you can add like and industry is equal to, I'll have to check what all industry values we have on our account so that we get at least one of the values coming through. So let's say, okay, we can say type is customer direct. We can put that. So let's say type is customer direct. So that is one of the filter logics that we have put in. And now if we do execute, and so this time you would see the results are less. Why? Because only the ones which records were created less than today and where the type is customer direct, they have come through. Right. So that's how you can filter your records using where clause and the filters. And this would give you the exact results which are matching this particular criteria. Your criterias would be defined by business, and you convert those criterias into your SOQL logic. Similarly, you can group by your records. You can order by your records as well. So how do you do that? You can just say order by, and let's say we can say order by created date. And then you can also define ASC for ascending and DESC for descending. To make your SOQL queries, if they go long and make it more readable, you can put every keyword here and then, in a new line so it becomes more readable. So you can say order by created date descending or ascending. This would order your results based on this particular created date. There's one more, which is limit. So you can set a limit. Let's say I just want only 5 records to come in, or let's say I want 300 records or 2000 records. Maximum records you can fetch using an SOQL query is 50,000 in your Apex code. Let it save. And similarly, there are 2 more keywords, which are offset and for update. This we are going to understand more in detail when we are going to write triggers and when we are going to create LWC. Until then, more than welcome to go about and search them on Google. But I wouldn't do that because that would be too much download for this particular video. For now, let's just see how this particular logic comes in. For the next major portion of logic that we are going to run, this is more than enough for you to understand for now. Let's run it again. And this time, if you would see, the sequence would have changed in some sort or manner. So now we have got only 3 records. And why? Because created date is less than, and we have set the limit as 3. Hence, we have got only 3 records and the order has changed to this as well. I hope this video is helpful to you. We are going to learn more about SOQL queries in the next videos. When we write a real business logic, we are going to discuss more and more about SOQLs. Until then, have a good day. All the best in your Salesforce journey.